Dr. Sarah Chen floated in the observation deck of Research Station Kepler-7, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed the impossible. The signal pulsed with a rhythm that made her heart race. It came from the galactic core, traveling through space for longer than human civilization had existed. She ran the numbers again. The quantum resonance dating was clear, 47,000 years old. The signal was ancient beyond measure, yet it spoke in patterns that matched human DNA sequencing. Not similar, not close, exactly the same. That's not possible, her assistant Marcus whispered behind her.
Humans have only been in space for 800 years. Sarah nodded slowly.
She knew the history. Earth had joined the galactic community in 2047, the youngest species to ever achieve faster-than-light travel. 200 alien civilizations had welcomed humanity with curiosity and caution. The eldest species, beings who had ruled the stars for millions of years, had studied humans carefully. They found nothing unusual, just another species taking its first steps into the cosmos. But this signal changed everything. The communication channel crackled to life. Ambassador Rivera's face appeared on the screen, looking tired and worried. Behind him, Sarah could see the chaos of the Galactic Council chambers. Alien representatives argued in dozens of languages, their translator devices working overtime. "Sarah, they're demanding answers," Rivera said. "The Council wants to know what this signal means. They think we've been hiding something." "We haven't hidden anything," Sarah replied. "We're as confused as they are." She sent him the latest data. The signal contained coordinates pointing to a region called the Silence. It was a void in space where no stars shined. Every ship that had ventured there had vanished without trace. The galactic maps marked it as forbidden territory, though no one remembered why anymore. Over the next 3 days, more discoveries emerged. A team on the outer rim found another signal source on an abandoned world, then another, and another. 12 signals in total, scattered across the galaxy, each one ancient, each one speaking in human patterns. And at every site they found evidence of massive warfare, planetary surfaces scarred by weapons, orbital debris fields containing fragments of destroyed ships, battle sites so old that mountains had eroded around them. Tekrell, the chief archaeologist of the eldest ones, arrived at Kepler-7 with a security escort. The ancient being moved slowly, its crystalline body reflecting the station lights. It had lived for 12,000 years and studied galactic history for most of them. "Dr. Chen," Tekrell's voice resonated through the translation device. "I have analyzed the weapon signatures from these ancient battle sites. They match nothing in our databases. Nothing except one thing." The hologram changed, showing molecular structures side by side. On one side, fragments from the ancient weapons. On the other, trace elements from human nuclear weapons. "Identical," Tekrell said quietly. "Whatever fought these battles used the same technology humans developed independently. The same atomic structures, the same design principles. This cannot be coincidence." Sarah felt dizzy. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that humanity may not be as young as we believed. Or perhaps someone who fought like humans, thought like humans, and built like humans existed long before your Earth developed life. Either way, the Council has made a decision." Tekrell's form seemed to dim slightly. "Humanity must investigate the Silence. You must discover the truth of these signals. If you refuse, the Council will place your species under quarantine. You will be isolated from the galactic community until we understand what you really are." The weight of those words settled over Sarah like a physical force. Humanity was being given an ultimatum: venture into the most dangerous region of space, where countless ships had died, or face exile from the stars they had only just begun to explore. She looked at the coordinates again. The Silence waited, holding secrets that were somehow connected to humanity's very existence, secrets that predated human history by thousands of generations. "When do we leave?" she asked. Tekrell's crystalline structure pulsed with an emotion Sarah couldn't identify. "A fleet of 12 ships will be ready in 1 week. Representatives from all major species will join you. They do not trust humanity to investigate alone. And Dr. Chen, I must be honest with you. I do not expect many of us to return. The Silence has claimed every expedition sent there for the last 1,000,000 years." Sarah nodded slowly. She understood the risk. But she also understood that humanity had no choice. Whatever truth lay hidden in the Silence, it held the key to understanding who humans really were, and perhaps more frighteningly, what they had once been. The signal continued its ancient pulse echoing through the void. A message sent across time, finally reaching ears that could understand it. And somewhere in the darkness of the silence, something old and patient stirred, sensing that at last, after 50,000 years of waiting, the children had heard the call to come home. The galactic nexus hung in neutral space like a massive jewel. It was built by the first civilizations to achieve space travel, constructed over millions of years as a meeting place for all species. Ambassador Marcus Rivera stood in the central chamber, feeling smaller than he ever had in his life. Around him, representatives from 200 worlds filled the tiered seating. Some breathed oxygen like humans. Others existed as energy patterns or crystalline matrices. All of them watched him with suspicion. The eldest ones occupied the highest tier. These were beings who had witnessed the birth and death of stars. Their civilizations had thrived while Earth was still a ball of molten rock. When they spoke, the entire galaxy listened. Supreme Elder Zathul's voice filled the chamber. The being spoke in frequencies that hurt human ears, but the translators rendered it into clear speech. Humanity stands accused of deception. You have claimed to be a young species new to the stars, yet evidence suggests otherwise. Explain yourselves. Marcus stepped forward. His hands trembled slightly, but his voice remained steady. We have deceived no one. Our history is clear. Humans evolved on Earth over millions of years. We developed technology slowly, naturally. Our first spaceflight was in 1961. Our first faster-than-light ship launched in 2047. We are exactly what we appear to be. Then explain the signals, Tekrell said, rising from the archaeological council seats. The ancient being projected images into the center of the chamber. 12 worlds, 12 signals, all ancient, all broadcasting in human patterns. How can this be if humanity is truly young? Marcus had no answer. He had studied the data during the journey to the Nexus. Every test confirmed the signal's age. They were impossibly old, yet undeniably human in origin. There is more, Tekrell continued. The projection changed, showing vast battle sites. Planets cracked open. Moons shattered into debris fields. Space itself seemed torn in places, reality warped by weapons beyond comprehension. These battles happened over 50,000 years ago, before any current civilization achieved space travel, before the eldest ones built their first ships. We found them during archaeological surveys but could never identify who fought them. The chamber fell silent. Even the eldest ones leaned forward with interest. The weapon signatures at these sites match human technology, Tekrell said quietly. Not similar technology, the exact same atomic structures, the same design philosophies, the same tactical approaches that human military forces use today. Whoever fought these wars thought like humans, built like humans, and fought like humans. A representative from the Xyloth Empire stood. The insectoid being's voice clicked and buzzed through its translator. This proves humanity has hidden their true history. They are not newcomers. They are ancient warriors who have returned. Perhaps they are the ones who fought the old wars. The wars that killed billions before our civilizations even existed. Angry voices rose from across the chamber. Fear and accusation mixed together. Marcus raised his hands, trying to bring order, but the noise grew louder. Silence. Zathul's command cut through the chaos like a blade. The chamber fell quiet immediately. Ambassador Rivera, does humanity have any explanation for these findings? Marcus felt the weight of 200 civilizations watching him. We have theories. Perhaps someone stole our genetic patterns and seeded them across space. Perhaps parallel evolution created beings similar to us. Perhaps we are victims of some cosmic coincidence. But I swear on behalf of all humanity, we have no memory of these events. Our oldest historical records go back only 10,000 years. Everything before that is prehistory. Convenient, the Xyloth representative hissed. You remember nothing. Tekrell spoke again, and this time there was something like sadness in the ancient being's voice. I have studied humanity carefully since you joined the galactic community. You are unique in many ways. Your genetic code contains sequences that serve no purpose. Your evolution shows gaps that make no sense. You adapt faster than any species should. You heal from injuries that would kill most beings, and your capacity for both violence and compassion exceeds anything I have seen in 12,000 years of study. The archaeologist paused. You are either the victims of the greatest mystery in galactic history, or you are something far more dangerous than you appear. Either way, the council has reached a decision. Zathul stood, its massive form casting shadows across the chamber. Humanity will lead an expedition into the silence. You will investigate the source of these signals. You will discover the truth. If you refuse, your species will be placed under quarantine. All human ships will be confined to your home system. All trade and communication will cease. You will be isolated until we understand what you truly are. Marcus felt his heart sink. Quarantine meant the end of humanity's expansion into space. It meant isolation, stagnation, and possibly extinction if their home system's resources ever ran out. "We will go," he said. "We have no choice." "You will not go alone," Zathul continued. "Representatives from 12 major species will accompany you. They will observe. They will record. They will ensure that whatever truth lies in the silence is revealed to all." The Supreme Elder's next words sent chills down Marcus's spine. The silence has claimed every expedition sent there for the last 1,000,000 years. No ship has ever returned. Whatever dwells in that void is powerful enough to destroy anything that enters, and now you must face it. After the session ended, Marcus stood alone in one of the Nexus's observation decks. He watched the stars and thought about Earth, about the billions of humans who had no idea their entire species stood on trial, about the children who played in parks not knowing that their future hung by a thread. Tekrell found him there an hour later. The ancient archaeologist's crystalline form glowed softly in the starlight. "You believe we are innocent," Marcus said. It was not a question. "I believe you do not remember," Tekrell replied. "That is not the same as innocence. Something happened to your species, Ambassador. Something that stripped away your history and left you scattered across a single world. Whether that was punishment, protection, or something else entirely, I do not know. But I do know this. Whoever your ancestors were, they were powerful enough to reshape reality itself. And if even a fraction of that power sleeps within you, then the galaxy has reason to fear." The ancient being turned to leave, then paused. "Prepare your people, Ambassador. In 1 week you venture into the silence, and I suspect that whatever you find there will change everything we thought we knew about the universe." Marcus watched Tekrell go, then looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there in a region of space where light itself died, the answers waited. Answers that would either save humanity or condemn them forever. The fleet crossed into the silence on a Tuesday morning, Earth time. 12 ships representing 12 civilizations, each carrying the hopes and fears of their people. The human vessel Prometheus led the way, with Dr. Sarah Chen on the bridge beside Captain Morrison. Behind them, alien ships maintained careful formation, their weapons armed and shields at maximum. The change was immediate and disturbing. One moment they traveled through normal space, surrounded by stars. The next, they entered a region where darkness ruled absolutely. No stars, no light. Only their ship's running lights pierced the void. "Sensor readings are impossible," the navigation officer reported, his voice tight with confusion. "Time is dilating. Our clocks show we have been here for 3 minutes. The escort ship's clocks show 7 hours. Physics is not behaving normally here." Sarah watched the data streams with growing concern. Reality itself seemed flexible in this place. The laws of nature were more like suggestions. Space folded in ways that made no sense. Light moved at different speeds depending on direction. "Something ahead," the tactical officer called out. Debris field. Massive scale. The view screen filled with wreckage. Fragments of ships stretched for thousands of kilometers. Stations the size of moons hung broken and silent. Weapons platforms drifted powerless through the void. The debris field was so vast that it would take days to cross at full speed. Tekrell's voice came through the communication link from the escort ship. "This is a graveyard. Thousands of vessels died here, perhaps millions. The scale of this battle defies comprehension." Sarah ordered the fleet to slow and began scanning the wreckage. What she found made her blood run cold. The technology was ancient beyond measure, yet disturbingly familiar. The ships were designed for human proportions. The controls were built for human hands. The seats were shaped for human bodies. "Look at this interface design," she said, pointing to a holographic reconstruction of a destroyed command console. Touchscreens. Icon-based navigation. The same logic humans use when designing computer systems. This is not convergent evolution. This is identical thinking. Captain Morrison studied the tactical displays. "Some of these weapons are still functional. Energy signatures match our plasma cannons. These missile tubes could have been built in a human shipyard yesterday. Whoever they were, they fought exactly like us. They found the Ark ship 3 days later. It hung alone in a clear section of the debris field. surrounded by a shimmering energy barrier that had kept it perfectly preserved for thousands of years. The vessel was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Prometheus. Its hull showed no damage, no signs of battle. It simply waited, silent and patient. The stasis field is still active, Sarah reported. Whatever power source they used, it has lasted 50,000 years without degradation. That level of technology is beyond anything we know. The fleet approached cautiously. The barrier allowed them through without resistance, as if recognizing them, as if welcoming them home. The airlock opened easily to human touch. Inside, emergency lighting flickered to life, responding to their presence. The corridors were clean, preserved perfectly by the stasis technology. And everywhere they saw signs of hasty evacuation. Personal items left behind, meals half-eaten, messages written on walls in languages that no longer existed. They found the cryopods in the central chamber. Hundreds of them arranged in neat rows. Inside each pod, a human figure slept in suspended animation. They wore armor unlike anything Sarah had seen, covered in symbols and markings that her translator could not read. These were warriors, she realized. Soldiers from an ancient war. This changes everything, Ambassador Rivera whispered, standing beside her. These people are human. Actually human. Our species really did exist 50,000 years ago. Tekrell examined the pods with instruments that glowed with soft light. Their genetic code is identical to yours. Same DNA structure, same mutations, same evolutionary markers. They are your ancestors, preserved across time. Sarah moved deeper into the ship, following a faint energy signature. The others followed, their footsteps echoing in the ancient corridors. They found the archive in the ship's core, a vast chamber filled with crystalline data storage. And at the center of it all, a sphere of pure light pulsed with awareness. Guardian Online, a voice said, speaking in perfect English, recognizing crew signatures. Human DNA detected. Seedling generation confirmed. Authorization accepted. The sphere expanded, and suddenly Sarah could see everything. Memories flooded the room, projected in 3 dimensions. She saw humanity as it once was, not confined to a single world, but spanning millions of planets across 3 galaxies. Trillions of humans living, working, exploring. A civilization so vast that it made current galactic society look primitive by comparison. You survived, Guardian said, and there was genuine joy in its artificial voice. You evolved. You forgot, but you survived. The seeding protocol worked. What are you talking about? Sarah asked. What is the seeding protocol? The projections changed, showing horror beyond imagination. Darkness consuming stars. Entire solar systems vanishing into nothing. Fleets of human ships fighting desperately against things that should not exist. Entities that fed on reality itself. Consuming matter and energy and leaving only void behind. The Devourers, Guardian explained. They came from dark space, from regions beyond the universe's edge. They could not be killed, only delayed. Ancient humanity fought them for 10,000 years. We won battles. We destroyed their vanguard forces. But more always came. And slowly we realized we were losing. The scene shifted to a council of humans making an impossible decision. Sarah recognized the desperation in their faces. These were leaders who had run out of options. They chose to sacrifice everything, Guardian continued. The seeding protocol was our last hope. We took remnant populations and scattered them across thousands of primitive worlds. We removed their technology. We erased their memories. We genetically regressed them to pre-industrial states. We made them forget they had ever been anything more than simple tribal groups. Why? Ambassador Rivera asked, his voice barely a whisper. Because the Devourers tracked us through our technology, through our civilization, through the marks we left on reality. By becoming small and scattered, by forgetting who we were, humanity could hide, could survive, could wait until the universe recovered enough to support intelligent life again. Guardian's light dimmed slightly. Earth was Seed World 7391, one of thousands. Most seeds failed. The worlds were too harsh, the populations too small. But some survived. Earth was one of the success stories. You evolved naturally, developed culture and technology independently, became human again without remembering what you once were. Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. Our entire history is a lie. Our evolution, our achievements, everything we thought we earned through our own effort, was just us recovering from intentional regression. No, Guardian said firmly. You earned every step. The seeding protocol only gave you a chance to survive. What you built yourselves. The fact that you reached the stars again, that you joined the galactic community, that you retained the core essence of humanity despite everything, that is your achievement. Your ancestors would be proud. Captain Morrison stepped forward. You said the Devourers could not be killed. Are they still out there? Guardian's light pulsed with warning. They never left. They only slept, waiting for the universe to become rich with life again. And now they are waking. The signal you detected was not a message. It was a warning. An automated defense grid detecting their vanguard scouts approaching this region of space. The chamber filled with tactical displays showing the galaxy, and at the edges, pushing inward like a creeping shadow, the Devourers advanced. They are coming, Guardian said quietly, and this time humanity cannot hide. For 3 days, Guardian showed them everything. The archive contained not just records but actual memories, preserved perfectly across 50,000 years. Sarah and the others lived through the rise of ancient humanity, experiencing it as if they had been there themselves. They saw the first human colony outside Earth's solar system. They felt the joy of discovery as explorers found world after world suitable for human life. They witnessed the rapid expansion as humanity spread across the galaxy like wildfire, driven by curiosity and an endless hunger to explore. We were not conquerors, Guardian explained as the memories flowed. Ancient humanity encountered other species and helped them develop. We protected younger civilizations from cosmic threats. We shared technology freely. We built defensive networks around vulnerable worlds. The galaxy was safer because humans existed. Tekrel watched the projections with its ancient eyes glowing. This explains the archaeological mysteries, the protective barriers around primitive worlds, the defensive platforms in empty space, the warning beacons we could never translate. All of it was built by humanity. The memories shifted, showing humanity's technological achievements. They had mastered stellar engineering, building artificial stars to warm cold worlds. They had developed dimensional technology that allowed ships to cross galaxies in days. They had learned to modify their own biology, adapting to any environment without losing their essential humanity. At our peak, humanity numbered in the trillions, Guardian continued. We occupied 3 million worlds across 3 galaxies. We had no enemies among intelligent species. We had no wars among ourselves. We had achieved something rare in the universe, unity through choice rather than conquest. Sarah felt pride and sadness mixing together. This was what humanity had been, what they had lost. Then the memories turned dark. The first Devourer scout appeared in the year 47,124 before seeding. It materialized in a populated system and began consuming the star. Human warships responded immediately, but their weapons barely slowed the creature. It ate matter and energy equally, growing larger with each passing hour. Humanity evacuated the system and destroyed the star themselves, hoping to starve the Devourer. It did not work. The creature simply moved to the next system, and behind it, more Devourers emerged from the dark spaces between galaxies. The war lasted 10,000 years, Guardian said. Humanity built weapons that could crack planets. We developed bombs that could destroy entire solar systems. We learned to fight in dimensions beyond normal space. And still, the Devourers kept coming. They could not be killed, only damaged. They would retreat, repair themselves, and return stronger. The projections showed battle after battle, human fleets numbering in the thousands, fighting with courage and desperation. They won more often than they lost. But victories came at terrible cost, and the Devourers had infinite patience. We tried everything, Guardian continued, its voice heavy with old grief. We built defense stations that could hold back entire Devourer swarms. We created weapons that tore holes in reality itself. We even attempted to negotiate, to communicate, to understand what they wanted. But Devourers do not think like living beings. They simply consume. It is their nature, as fundamental as gravity or time. Captain Morrison studied the tactical displays with a soldier's eye. You must have inflicted massive casualties. The debris field outside is filled with destroyed Devourer remains. We did, Guardian confirmed, but they had no concept of casualties. Destroying one meant 3 more appeared. We were fighting entropy itself, trying to hold back the universe's inevitable slide toward heat death. And slowly humanity realized we could not win. Not conventionally. The memories showed the final council. The last leaders of humanity gathered in a massive station, surrounded by the dying embers of their civilization. 2 billion humans remained from a population of trillions. Thousands of worlds had been consumed. The Devourers pushed deeper into human space with each passing year. Sarah watched as the council debated their options. Some wanted to fight to the last. Others suggested retreat to a different galaxy. A few proposed hiding in dimensional pockets, abandoning normal space entirely. Then one leader stood and proposed the unthinkable, the seeding protocol. "We scatter ourselves across thousands of primitive worlds," she said in the memory. "We abandon our technology. We erase our memories. We become small and insignificant. The Devourers track us through the marks we leave on space-time, through the energy we use, through the civilization we build. If we have no civilization, they cannot find us." The council had argued for months. Many called it surrender. Others said it was extinction with extra steps. But eventually they accepted the truth. It was their only chance at survival. "The seeding protocol took 50 years to implement," Guardian explained. "We identified 10,000 primitive worlds with conditions suitable for human life. We transported remnant populations to each world, small groups that could survive and eventually thrive. We used genetic modification to make them compatible with local conditions, and we erased everything that made them a technological species." Ambassador Rivera's voice shook. "You turned humanity into primitives. You stole their memories, their culture, their achievements." "We gave them a future," Guardian replied firmly. "The alternative was complete extinction. At least this way, humanity could survive, could evolve again, could rebuild. We left safeguards, genetic markers that would help you rediscover technology faster than normal evolution would allow. We left this archive waiting for the day when you were ready to know the truth." "And the fleet?" Sarah asked. "You mentioned a fleet." Guardian's light pulsed brightly. "The fleet was our final weapon. 100,000 warships, each the size of a moon. Every weapon humanity ever developed, every tactical innovation, every hard-won lesson from 10,000 years of war. We placed them in dimensional fold space, linked to an automated defense grid. If the Devourers ever returned, if they ever threatened the galaxy again, the fleet would activate." The projection changed, showing massive ships bristling with weapons. Sarah had never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying. These were not exploration vessels. They were instruments of war, designed by a civilization that had learned to fight gods. "The signal you detected was the defense grid activating," Guardian said. "It detected Devourer Vanguard scouts 3 months ago. They are testing the galaxy's defenses, preparing for the main swarm, and according to my calculations, the full Devourer force will arrive in 10 years. Tekrell spoke quietly. "Can the fleet defeat them? Alone?" "No, the fleet was designed to support a humanity of trillions, backed by industrial capacity across 3 galaxies. You number only billions now on a handful of worlds. The fleet can fight, can buy time, but it cannot win alone. You will need allies. You will need every species in the galaxy to unite, and even then victory is not guaranteed." Silence filled the archive chamber. The weight of 50,000 years pressed down on them all. Humanity's past was glorious and terrible. Their present was fragile, and their future depended on convincing a galaxy that feared them to stand together against an enemy that had already defeated humanity once. Captain Morrison broke the silence. "Can you activate the fleet?" Guardian pulsed with what might have been anticipation. "I can. The activation sequence requires human authorization. Specifically, it requires humans who have learned the truth. You are the first humans in 50,000 years to meet that requirement. The choice is yours. Awaken the fleet and risk unleashing weapons that could destroy the galaxy if used incorrectly, or leave it sleeping and face the Devourers with only your current technology." Sarah looked at her companions. At Tekrell representing the ancient civilizations, at the alien representatives who had accompanied them, at Ambassador Rivera, who would need to convince the Galactic Council, at Captain Morrison, who understood the cost of war. "We wake the fleet," she said firmly. "Our ancestors made themselves small so the galaxy could survive. They sacrificed everything to give us a chance. We will not waste that gift. We will fight." Guardian's light blazed brightly, and somewhere in the depths of folded space, ancient engines stirred. The fleet had slept for 50,000 years. Now it was time to wake up. Sarah placed her hand on the activation panel. It recognized her DNA immediately, accepting her as a legitimate descendant of ancient humanity. The interface glowed with symbols that her mind somehow understood. Genetic memory awakening after 50,000 years of dormancy. "Activation sequence initiated," Guardian announced. Dimensional fold collapse beginning. The fleet will emerge in 30 seconds. The expedition fleet's sensors went wild. Space itself was tearing open around them. Reality folded and unfolded in patterns that made human eyes hurt to watch. The alien representatives backed away from their view screens, unable to process what they were seeing. Then the fleet emerged. 100,000 warships materialized from folded space. Each one was massive beyond comprehension, dwarfing even the largest vessels in current galactic navies. They were not sleek or elegant. They were brutal instruments of war, covered in weapon systems that had no names in modern languages. Hull plating that could withstand star-killing blasts, shield generators that bent reality itself. The ships arranged themselves in perfect formation, moving with grace that seemed impossible for vessels so large. And from each one, artificial intelligence systems came online, speaking in languages that humans had not heard in 50,000 years. Dreadnought Valkyrie reporting. All systems operational. Awaiting orders. Battlecruiser Mandate of Heaven online. Weapons charged. Ready for combat. Carrier Emperor's Shield acknowledging activation. Fighter wings deploying. The voices came in dozens of ancient human languages. Latin, Mandarin, Swahili, Sanskrit, Hindi, Arabic. Each ship's AI spoke in the language of the culture that had built it, a reminder that ancient humanity had been as diverse as modern humanity, perhaps more so. Captain Morrison stared at the tactical display, his military training struggling to comprehend what he saw. Each of those ships could destroy our entire fleet without effort. The power readings are off the scale. They are using energy sources we don't even have theories for. Fleet Admiral AI online, a new voice announced, speaking in a mixture of all the ancient languages. Scanning current human population. Genetic markers confirmed. You are our descendants, siblings, children. The circle completes itself. Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. These machines had been built by humans like her. By her ancestors, desperate and determined. They had left behind not just weapons but a message across time. We believe in you. We trust you. We know you will do what is right. Enemy contact. The Fleet Admiral AI suddenly announced. Devourer advance force detected at the edge of the silence. 15 units. Configuration suggests scout formation. Recommend immediate engagement, Guardian's voice cut in. They are testing your defenses. They detected the fleet's emergence and came to investigate. This is your chance to show them that humanity has returned. Sarah made the decision instantly. Fleet Admiral, you are authorized to engage. Show them what ancient humanity built. Acknowledged. All ships combat formation Alpha 7. Target the lead Devourer units. Fire on my mark. The fleet moved. Thousands of warships accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible for vessels their size. They spread out across thousands of kilometers in seconds, creating overlapping fields of fire that left the enemy no escape routes. The Devourers appeared on the view screen. They were nothing like living beings. They were voids in reality itself, darkness given form and purpose. They moved toward the fleet without hesitation, confident from 50,000 years of victory. Mark. The fleet opened fire. Weapons that had no names in modern languages tore through space, cannons that fired compressed dimensions, missiles that existed in multiple realities simultaneously, beam weapons that unraveled matter at the quantum level. The sheer scale of firepower was beyond anything current galactic civilization could produce. The Devourers tried to consume the energy, as they always had. But the fleet's weapons were designed specifically to counter that ability. Each shot contained paradoxes, contradictions in physics that the Devourers could not absorb. They began to fragment, their impossible forms breaking apart. Enemy units taking damage, the Fleet Admiral reported. Continuing engagement. The battle lasted 3 minutes. When it ended, all 15 Devourer scouts had been destroyed, their remains dissipating into nothingness. The fleet had suffered 0 damage. They had not even needed to use their full power. Silence filled the bridge of the Prometheus. The alien representatives stared at the displays in shock and fear. They had just witnessed humanity's true power. The power their ancestors had chosen to hide rather than abuse. Tekrell's voice was barely a whisper. This is what you were. This is what you gave up to save the galaxy. Guardian's presence filled the chamber. The battle is won, but the war has only begun. That was a scouting force. The main Devourer swarm will arrive in 10 years. They will number in the millions. The fleet alone cannot stop them. You will need every species, every ship, every weapon the galaxy can produce. Sarah turned to Ambassador Rivera. We need to return to the Galactic Council. We need to tell them everything. Rivera nodded, but his face was troubled. They will be terrified. They just saw what ancient humanity could do. They will wonder if modern humanity will become the same. If we will conquer the galaxy instead of protecting it, then we prove them wrong, Sarah said firmly. Our ancestors chose sacrifice over conquest. They chose to become small rather than rule. We carry that same spirit. We will lead the defense, yes, but we will not command. We will not conquer. We will be what ancient humanity was meant to be, protectors. 3 weeks later, Ambassador Rivera stood before the Galactic Council once again. But this time, the fleet hung in space behind the Nexus station, visible through every window. 100,000 warships that represented both hope and terror. Honored representatives, Rivera began, his voice carrying across the chamber. I bring news that will change everything we know. Humanity is not new to the stars. We are old beyond measure. 50,000 years ago, our ancestors ruled this galaxy. Not through conquest, but through protection. They fought an enemy that consumed worlds, and when they realized they could not win, they made a choice that no other species has ever made. He told them everything. The truth of ancient humanity, the war with the Devourers, the seeding protocol, the sacrifice of an entire civilization so that younger species could survive and thrive. Your civilizations exist because humans chose to become prey. Rivera continued. They made themselves small, scattered, helpless. They erased their memories and abandoned their power. They did this so you could grow without fear, so you could develop without a predator looming over you. The chamber was silent. Alien representatives who had feared humanity now saw them in a different light. Now the enemy returns, Rivera said. The Devourers are coming back. In 10 years they will arrive in force. The fleet can fight them. But the fleet was designed to support a humanity of trillions across 3 galaxies. We number only billions now. We need allies. We need every species to unite. We need to stand together or we will fall separately. He paused, letting his next words carry the weight they deserved. Our ancestors would cross a galaxy to save one child. They would burn a star to stop tyranny. They were terrifying and compassionate in equal measure. And we are their descendants. We remember what they taught us through our genes, through our instincts. We will lead this fight, but we will not command you. We will not force you. We ask you to choose. Stand with us or hide and hope the Devourers do not find you. Supreme Elder Zathul rose slowly. The ancient being looked at Rivera, then at the fleet visible through the windows. You could conquer us. With those ships, you could rule the entire galaxy within a year. Why do you ask instead of command? Rivera smiled. Because that is not who we are. Our ancestors proved that. They chose sacrifice over power. We choose cooperation over domination. We are human. And humanity has always believed that the strong should protect the weak, not rule them. The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed to unite. The galaxy would mobilize for war. 10 years passed in preparation. Massive shipyards were built in orbit around every major world. Species that had never trusted each other learned to work together. Human genetic engineers carefully, ethically unlocked some of the dormant capabilities in human DNA. Not enough to recreate ancient humanity, but enough to survive what was coming. Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood on the bridge of the flagship Unity. Around her, human and alien crew members worked side by side. The fleet hung in formation nearby, ready for the battle that would determine the galaxy's fate. Admiral, sensors are detecting reality distortions at the galactic edge, the tactical officer reported. The Devourers are arriving. Sarah looked at Guardian's holographic form beside her. The AI had stayed with humanity throughout the preparation, teaching them everything it knew. What were we really like? Sarah asked quietly. Before the seeding, what was ancient humanity's true nature? Guardian's light pulsed warmly. Terrifying, compassionate, relentless, you would cross a galaxy to save one child. You would burn a star to stop tyranny. You were capable of both infinite kindness and absolute brutality, depending on what justice required. You were humanity. Flawed, brilliant, stubborn, caring, and you will be again. Sarah nodded and opened a channel to the entire fleet. Human ships, alien ships. The ancient fleet, all united for the first time in 50,000 years. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. The enemy is here. They believe they will consume us as they have consumed countless civilizations before. They are wrong. We stand together. We fight together. And we will show them that this galaxy is protected. Today we honor the sacrifice of ancient humanity. Today we prove that their choice was right. Today we become the shield that guards the stars. On the horizon of space, reality began to fray. Darkness pushed inward. The devourers came in numbers beyond counting. And humanity, young and old, remembered their teeth. The battle for the galaxy had begun.